Hello everybody, how's it going? Happy Saturday. Oh, I need to turn the cat cam on this screen. Hold up. I got you. There we go. There's the cat. Let me just adjust that a little bit. There we go. There we are. You didn't see anything with my shelf. Don't worry about it. Hey. Happy Saturday, y'all. How's it going? This is a cat. A very cute, very needy cat. But look at him. He's just having a grand old time right here. Ow. I like ran my hand into my tea. Hold on. I just realized this is not the size I meant for it to be. Let me do a little adjusty. I can maybe get the cat cam text in there. A little bit. Maybe a little smaller and then a little higher. Don't worry about it. We're fixing it live. Okay, there we go. There we go. That's a good cat cam. Why does it seem like that didn't really help? Like I made it worse. There we go. Now you can see it says cat cam there. And then there's a little, like, there's the little frame peeking out on the other side. We're not going to worry about that. It's fine. Got me. We got Momo. How's it going, everybody? Happy Saturday. We're here for more Great Ace Attorney 2. We should be, I think, finishing up. I know, Momo. I know. It's very exciting. And now you're on 2 cameras. Here's your ear on my camera, and then your butt is still on your own camera. Oh, that's very cute. We can see your face now. That's very cute, Momo. I think we're wrapping up case 3 today. I would hope so. It seems like the last part of the trial, and I can't imagine where else we would need to go investigate. So I think this should be the end of... This should be the end of, case 3, right? Maybe, possibly. Thank you, Darjeeling Clink, for the finger in Momo's mouth, because Momo's a very good boy. I know, very exciting, Momo. Look at you. Okay, he's having a good time. Alrighty, shall we head over to the game screen then? Bum, bum, bum. There we are. There's us, and there's Momo in all of his glory. Alright, I'm gonna stop the music, and then we shall hop on in. Whee! Oh shit, it moved us to the background of the experiment. I love how it updates based on what case you're on. That's pretty cool. Anyway, I know I said it earlier, but happy Saturday, everybody. Happy October. We're in the thick of it, in the spooky month. Congratulations on making it to today, October 14th. Right after a Friday the 13th. So good job, y'all made it through if you're watching this. Okay. I don't know. I don't got much else to say. Let's just hop in. Let's do it. I believe. Return of the great departed soul. Something about that case name. Is this dude gonna come back to life? Is our victim not actually dead? The great departed soul. Or is it because Susato departed for Japan and then came back? I don't know. I don't know what they're referring to here. I've got some questions now. Alright, anyway. The 24th of October, we are 10 days in the future. Just kidding. And several hundred years in the past. 9:11 a.m., the Old Bailey Defendant's Antechamber. Good morning to you, Mr. Naruhodo! Ah, good morning, Professor. Ready for today's proceedings? I hope so. I should be. Even I, with nothing left to... Good morning, my dear fellows! Oh, Mr. Sholmes, you're here! Why, naturally, a true gentleman stands shoulder to shoulder with his friends in battle at all times. Good for you. I'm gonna expand this a little bit for more hand motion. Whee! That's fine. Thank you. I really appreciate it. I'll see you later then. Let's see my shelf back there. Okay, I changed my mind. Now, Professor, we really need you to remain calm in the courtroom today.
Yes, do try your hardest not to enter the witness stand uninvited again. Yes, I will. I realize it was a mistake, but my dear fellows, I must interject.
Oh, you're still here, Mr. Sholmes. What's the matter?
Surely you've overlooked some praise, have you not? To be cast in my direction,
Sorry? I don't follow. If I just move over. There we go.
Must I spell it out? I, the great Sherlock Sholmes, the greatest detective of worldwide acclamation, arose at some ungodly hour to be here now. First thing in the morning. A miracle, you must agree.
Well, if I must agree, then...
As you know, my sleep is quite impregnable. I has had to employ her full gamut of tactics. She pulled the covers off, shook me, poked both cheeks, punched me, and kicked me from the bed. And she poured a boiling cup of her latest experimental blend on my face, and at last I was bestirred. Oh my, Iris has been busy.
Iris doesn't have it in her to go that far. She's too nice.
Ha! I sense the spirit of a fellow scientist, one who relishes the infinite possibilities of blending tea. I'm the one worthy of praise here, not Iris. This is my victory.
Sorry to cut in. Oh, sorry to cut in. Kind of. Sorry, there's like hair stuck in my headphones again. It's just at that length where it's really annoying. I miss Tex. Oh, Inspector Gregson, good morning.
Gregson, my dear fellow, why the grim expression at this delightfully early hour?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe because I've been confronted with a grimmer expression, eh?
Dear me, are you going to take that insult lying down, Professor? What? What? I don't know!
Poor Professor. Anyway, here's the paperwork you asked for. What paperwork?
I took the liberty of requesting it yesterday. I have a feeling it may prove useful.
You wouldn't believe the hoops I had to jump through to get this brought out of the archives. It's the professor's autopsy report.
That mass murderers?
Oh! The great departed soul, is that the professor we found out that we're gonna find out is not actually dead? Possibly. Who killed 5 members of the aristocracy? Who was found guilty in a closed trial 10 years ago. So it was all done under wraps. He was quickly executed soon after the trial. It's all in here. Killer's autopsy report. The autopsy report of the mass murderer known as the Professor, who was tried and found guilty by closed trial 10 years ago. I don't know what to say. Thank you, Inspector.
Yes, much obliged, Gregson.
Us lowly lot of the yard are just doing what we can. The shadow of the great Detective Sholmes, of course. Well then, Professor Harebrain, this is it. Today we're gonna lay all this to rest at last.
I wish you the best of luck, Professor. I suppose He'll be in there today, will he? Trevor. Yes, we expect the prosecution to summon him as a witness. I'm still amazed that you managed to find him in just one day. I really owe you both so much.
Counsel and the defendant, the trial is about to resume. Kindly make your way into the courtroom at once. This is it then, final chapter. Funny, my heart's racing a little. I've not felt this before, actually. Strange foreboding, like some shit's about to go down. As if something's going to happen in this trial that I'm not ready for. But I can't let that distract me from the only thing that really matters. Finding the truth. Of October, 9:30 a.m. The Old Bailey courtroom. Our home away from home. In the name of Her Majesty the Queen, I hereby declare this court to be in session again. We will resume the public hearing of Albert Harebrain, here present, who stands accused of murder. Are the counsels for the prosecution and defense ready to proceed? Oh yeah, not Cosmo's here too, I forgot. The prosecution is ready, my lord. The defense is ready, my lord. As promised, Lord Van Zeeks has his apprentice with him. His apprentice with memory loss. Who we are very certain is Cosma. By May, Lord Van Zeeks. Yes, my lord. There appears to be someone standing at your side. Ah, yes. My apprentice and assistant. The prosecution believes today's proceedings will see the complexity of this case rise considerably. That's not how that works. When you use the saber to cut the bottle, you gotta cut it like down here. You don't just do it at the top there. It's not meant to just take the cork off, and you'll very noticeably see that a portion of the bottle's gone. That ain't how that shit works. I have seen it done in person before. I therefore instructed my assistant to attend to ensure the smooth running of the trial. And the smooth running of liquid refreshments, by the look of it.
The way he holds himself, the way he moves, it couldn't be anyone else.
When the devs/artists never saber their own bottle, shaking your head. Or at least, you know, looked up a video on how it's done. Or like a picture guide. But he's still suffering from amnesia, so there's really nothing we can do at the moment.
I know, but this is so very hard.
It would appear the prosecution has done a fine job in responding to the demands that the court made yesterday. Hey, I helped! I found him! I understand you have successfully secured the engineer who disappeared from the scene on the day in question. Yes, my lord. I intend to call him as a witness shortly. Very good, very good. Now then, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, who have been chosen at random to represent the will of the people in this courtroom today, are you ready and willing to proceed? Of course, my lord. I'm sure we all understand the importance of doing our civic duty.
I do so despise deception and deceit. I find it so very wearing. To take a man's life with a conjuring trick, it is against the magician's code, not to mention the law. Any fake scientist should feel the wrath of God, if you ask me.
We have to listen to what's said on both sides of the fence and, then settle on one. That's it, isn't it?
Wasn't like this in my day. Wasn't like this at all. If all parties are ready to proceed, you may begin, Lord Van Zeeks. Before I do, my lord, there's a report I must read to the court. Oh shit, I have a report to read too. I have a report to read too! Court record, I was hitting the wrong, I was hitting Baldur's Gate controls. I'm gonna be real with you, I've been playing too much. Condemned prisoner, redacted for confidentiality, pseudonym the professor. Death by hanging, confirmed at midnight, 17th of June, Courtney Stevens. Ah, so the lead, the, person who did the autopsy report now also did the one back then. Oh, wait. Courtney Stevens and Courtney Sith. Oh, different last name, but same first name, so that's a little sussy. Bohemian Boy, Enoch Drebber. Where's her daughter? Her, or whoever, that creepy person. Head of the Professor waxwork that was stolen from the Madame Tussauds special exhibit. Can I open this? I don't think I've looked at this yet. Kind of just got it and then didn't really look at it. I guess there's nothing to look at. Yet, currently. Meow. Oh, there's a keyhole. This lock does look very strong, doesn't it? There's definitely no way you could remove the mask yourself if it was put on you.
What a terrible way to treat someone, even a convicted criminal.
I know! It's starting to make me livid, actually.
Sonoruhodo, please.
I mean, just think about it. Imagine if you had an itch on your cheek all of a sudden. You'd be utterly helpless. Missing the point a little bit. Also, I just watched the camera crash. Is this just gonna be a thing with you? Swear to God, it's probably a hardware issue. I just want a good camera that, like, won't do this shit.
Well, yes, that's true. But I'm not sure that warrants quite so much anger.
Oh, right. Sorry. Science trophy. There's a little metal plaque here, look. Fostering burgeoning talent for the future of scientific discovery.
It seems rather ironic, doesn't it?
But clearly Mr. Drebber really was a very talented scientist. Interesting, okay. So that was Courtney Stevens, and here we have... Yep, Courtney Sith. Okay, well that's interesting. What's the report you gotta read? I literally just fixed you and you crashed again. What the hell, camera? Yesterday at the Great Exhibition grounds, the evidence of primary importance in this case. Yep, you saw on my windows, it's fine. A super high voltage instantaneous kinesis machine, which... I didn't even click in the window. I clicked out. I was clicking in a completely separate spot. Son of a... The super high voltage instantaneous kinesis machine, which was installed on the experimentation stage, was deliberately destroyed in an explosion affected by an unknown person or persons. It was... What? An explosion? Well, this is an outrage! It's all the old men who are pissed about it. Yes, I heard this grave news yesterday. Scotland Yard submitted a report to my office in the evening. I read that the machine was blasted to smithers, and the wreckage are reduced to ashes in the flames. I have here a photographic print of the scene, taken in the wake of the explosion. Yeah, it's pretty fucked up. Although that's very clearly like a pit underneath, right? It shows what little remains of the machine. Yes, a terrible business. He did it to destroy the evidence, did he?
That Enoch Drubber.
The court will take this print as evidence, counsel. Photographic print of the experimentation stage after it was completely leveled by a time bomb. The metal floor of the stage has been blown open by the explosion. Late yesterday afternoon, the protection afforded to the machine by the Special Dispensation for Scientific Equipment Act was revoked. However, before a thorough investigation could begin, the invention was obliterated from existence. As such, this will become a very different trial. Okay. What's that mean? As it stands now, with no evidence on which to draw meaningful conclusions, the authenticity of the kinesis machine will remain forever in obscurity. Indeed. A most unfortunate state of affairs. However, one thing remains clear. The victim's death was the result of the actions of the accused. Of that we can be certain. For it was the accused himself who was operating the machine, and who ultimately caused its loss of control. As Lord Van Zeeks rightly says, this is a very different trial now. The accused accepts responsibility for his part in the events that transpired. He acknowledges that Mr. Asman died as a result of the accident caused by his machine's malfunction. However, unbeknownst to the professor, he was being deliberately deceived by a pair of very clever fraudsters. Names, counsel, if you please. The engineer, Mr. Enoch Drubber, and the victim himself, Mr. Odie Asman. So what exactly were these two men up to behind the defendant's back? The defense intends to expose that information, thus establishing the unequivocal innocence of the defendant. Thank you, counsels. The position of the prosecution and defense have been clearly stated. Man, good opener, Ryunosuke. That was a good job. Lord Van Zeeks, summon your first witness, please. At once, my lord. The prosecution calls the engineer, Mr. Enoch Drubber, to the stand. I know, Momo, you're very cute. He's doing the robot. State your name and occupation for the court. Name, Enoch Drubber. Occupation? Hard to pin down, I would say. See that black monocle? Yes, why do I feel as though I've seen it somewhere before? Oh, you too? I had exactly the same feeling myself. Your file indicates that you are currently being investigated in connection with another case. Mother fucking camera. Sorry, I do swear a lot, but also this is really annoying. Ah, there we go. The theft of a waxwork model, is it? Most extraordinary sounding business. But that has no bearing on this trial, I assure you. Cleave it from your mind. You're familiar with the public experiment carried out at the Great Exhibition some days ago? The accused super high voltage instantaneous kinesis demonstration? Yes, you could say that. I am aware of it. There was a terrible accident, wasn't there? It was you, Mr. Drebber, who constructed the vast machine used in the experiment. Or so our investigations indicate. Can you confirm your involvement? Yes, I constructed it. In precise accordance with the blueprints. And that's all. And the court would be very interested to hear your thoughts about the machine, I'm sure. Why are you so clockwork? He's so weird. An amazing device, if you ask me. The pinnacle of modern science, making instantaneous kinesis a reality at last. What? Good gracious, do you mean to say that the experiment was a bona fide? Is that your belief, sir? Yes, that is very much my belief. Such a waste that it blew up.
Objection!
But we've already established that the machine was nothing more than a prop for an elaborate conjuring trick.
Objection!
You've established nothing of the sort! All that was shown during yesterday's proceedings is that the same outcome could have been produced by the means of stage trickery. The defense merely proposed a method and demonstrated its feasibility, nothing more. But... We procrastinated long enough, I feel. Witness, you will now give your formal testimony about the machine you constructed for the purpose of the demonstration at the Great Exhibition. Understood. The kinesis machine. I met the young professor approximately 1 year ago through Mr. Asmund's introduction. He provided me with the blueprints, and I constructed the machine to his precise specifications. It was no trick. The whole show was a fraud. It would have required a body double. Tell me, did the victim have a twin? All the spectators saw the birdcage appear above their heads and then crash head first into the crystal tower. I'm just reviewing what pictures I have. Okay. So my current theory right now is that Odie Asmund is the professor, and Courtney Sith / Courtney Stevens works under him. Because he obviously he must have paid off her, and then obviously has paid off a lot of people since, because he was known to be corrupt. Anyway. Whoa! Hello, welcome on in, Raiders. Hey, that Black Bear, how's it going? How that was really short. How was your spooky game? Because you started just before as I was getting ready to start, so what, 45 minutes? Super short. What did you play again? How was it? It was like a teaser of a teaser. You know what you should have done? You should have played Project Cat. Oh, was it good? Did you enjoy it? How y'all doing? Hi Raiders, I am Sparkling Parfait. I'm gonna take a mint really quick, don't mind me. So excited for the full release, very good. in January, so out of the spooky season. I see. Yeah, anyway, hello. I'm a variety streamer, and on Saturdays, we do a story game, and currently our story game is Ace Attorney series, and we are on the last game in the Ace Attorney series, the Great Ace Attorney 2 Resolve, and we are on case 3, and I'm pretty sure should be wrapping up the case today. Yeah, I think Project Cat's gonna get released outside of the spooky season too, but I was like, let's play the prologue. Let's do a little dippy dip. Looks pretty good. I think their Kickstarter is starting up in January, February. I forget. It's like, it's not even a fully produced game yet. They're gonna Kickstarter it first to get funding. So yeah, very cool. But got its own creepiness to it. Yeah. Anyway, I'm glad you had fun. Definitely got full nope energy. Yes, there was a lot of no in that game. Some shit that happened. I was like, I'm not comfortable. Psychological horror is its own thing. But, yeah, Mori is supposed to be kind of in that same vein. Psychological horror. And that's what we're doing on Thursdays right now on our true variety night when I kind of play whatever. But for the month of October and spooky season, that's going to be a Mori. We just, before October, wrapped up playing 16 because I really wanted to get through that game so I could not worry about spoilers. Yeah. God damn it, my camera crashed again. I'm having an issue the last couple of days with the camera just not being a friend. And I don't know why. It's just not a friend. There we go. Camera behave. I know, right? I think it might be a hardware issue. Like, I think this camera may not be all it's cracked up to be. Which is unfortunate, because I don't really want to buy a new camera right now. Anyway, we'll just deal with it. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, so we're doing our first witness testimony of the day. I'm expecting this to go on for another couple hours, as tends to be the case in Ace Attorney. We shall see. Hope you guys enjoyed. I mean, I guess it's kind of spooky, because we're dealing with murder, right? Murder can be spooky. And so can waxwork figures. So we're gonna be talking about that a little bit. And that can be kind of creepy because it's like mannequins looking at you. And they look really lifelike and then they just stare blankly into your soul. It's creepy. Yes, murder can be very spooky. Alright. Oh, the spectators saw the birdcage appear above their heads and then crash headfirst into the crystal tower. A terrible accident, I grant you. Perhaps the science on which the machine was built was flawed somehow? So this is the witness. He's the guy who built the machine that exploded, caused an accident, and supposedly killed a man. We're pretty sure something else was going on, but we gotta get through the holes in his testimony first. Prove him wrong. Our client is the scientist who designed the whole thing, like, based around his theory, and, like, clearly had bad science, but, like, that's besides the point here right now. This is a cat. His name is Momo. Look how precious this baby is. He's like, why do you hold my face like that? And I'm like, because you're cute. You just don't give a shit when I do it. A body double? A body double, or a wax mannequin, because one was stolen recently, and this guy's the one who stole it, so what do you think he did with it? Ryunosuke's fit is super different. So it's a skin. He is supposed to be wearing his regular one, but I put him in the skin because he looks really cool. Sato-san also, and Shomes, they all have skins. That goes without saying, surely. To give the impression that something has moved, but in reality it hasn't. It's a basic conjuring principle. The deception cannot be achieved without substituting the original with a fake at some point in the performance. But would I be right in saying you haven't managed to establish anything along those lines? Oh, I'm pretty sure I have, but, like, just not in court yet. Incidentally, the prosecution has already confirmed that Mr. Asman had no twin siblings. But if he was the professor, the mass murderer of I don't remember how many years ago past, who killed your older brother, Van Zeeks, then he definitely had a waxwork body double. What do you say to that? It's my understanding that this witness is well versed in conjuring artfulness. But such talents do not indicate that he was actually able to accomplish what he claims. Namely that the construction of what, by all accounts, must have been an extremely complex scientific machine. God damn it, camera! Swear to God. Whatever do you mean? Yesterday's proceedings brought the true nature of your past exploits to light, Mr. Drebber. Indeed it did, my lord. As a swindler who preys on innocent scientists to elicit government grant money through conjuring know-how. Yes, it's true that I possess considerable knowledge of stage magic. But crucially, my scientific knowledge more than matches that of any academic in the field. Investigation of the witness's workshop attests to that claim, my lord. For science! As evidence, the police found this Royal Society trophy for young talent in science there.
Yes, that's true. We spotted it there ourselves.
If our hypothesis is sound, it can always be forged into a physical manifestation with sufficient skill. Though, I may have sold the secrets of some deceptive wiles to sniveling, talentless scientists in the past. Would you therefore assert that the explosion of the machine was an unfortunate accident? Or, of course, a deliberate act of murder, carried out by misuse of the science. Misato does look very cute in her alternate outfit, I agree. Counsel for the defense, your cross-examination, please. Yes, my lord. Alright, here we go. Press everything! Met him 1 year ago through Mr. Osmond. So you were already acquainted with Mr. Osmond himself? Not really. By chance, I'd seen his name mentioned in the papers, that's all. But I had no interest in his private affairs. If he was an unscrupulous investor, it was no concern of mine. As long as people pay their bills, I take up my tools and construct what they ask for. Motherfucking camera, I literally just fixed you. I don't know what the deal is. I may have to restart the computer later to get this to work. I don't know, we'll see what happens. So why did Mr. Asmund approach you in particular then? Who can say? I've assumed because my name is associated with excellence in engineering. Not to mention excellence in fraud. Hard to gauge, but the point is, all I did was construct the machine, according to the blueprints I was given. In other words, the Kinesis machine was built on solid scientific principles. Yes, you might say that. Professor Harebrain certainly has a mind like no other. So he doesn't deny that his stuff can be used for— yeah, he doesn't give a shit about that. He's like, look, I built it to specifications. It's not my fault you're using it for shady business. I don't give a shit. Which, you know, that's a whole other set of problems, but... Alright. So he gave him the blueprints. It's clear that you both have scientific knowledge and knowledge of conjuring magic. However, the more knowledge you have, the better equipped you are to handle whatever comes along. But your implication is that I furnished the machine with some trickery, I think. It's a possibility that we have to explore. Unfortunately, though, the machine has been blown to Kingdom Come. So there's really nothing left to explore, is there? It appears the kinesis machine was fitted with a timed explosive device of some kind. And there's nothing left of that device either. Not a single shred of evidence remaining, I hear. Do I have the bomb you tried to blow us up with yesterday? I don't. Okay. Well, shit. He must have planned all this from the outset. But in any case, it's abundantly clear that the experiment couldn't have been a trick. Would have required a body double. Body doubles don't necessarily mean a twin, they just mean someone who looks a lot like them or can be made up to look like them. That's how stunt doubles work. Of course, that's it! Mr. Asman was a twin! Perhaps my learned friend wasn't listening earlier. Mr. Asman had no twin siblings. Oh, I heard you before. But the thread of hope hadn't quite left me.
The demonstration could have been a trick. There was somebody who looked sufficiently like the victim. But Dr. Sith absolutely ruled that out as a possibility.
It is beyond question that the victim himself, Mr. Asman, did move from the stage to the Crystal Tower. The fingerprints found at the scene attest to that fact. Okay, but here's my issue with that. So right after the explosion, right after the accident, nobody was allowed near the Crystal Tower except for forensics, like I think basically Dr. Sith, I think, to examine the body. And it's like, during that time when there was only like one person who could have been on payroll, easily could have swapped a fake waxwork body for the real dude and then stabbed him. Fingerprints found at the scene attest to that.
So it can't have been orchestrated using someone who looked identical to Mr. Asman then. What are you thinking, Mr. Naruhodo?
Oh, no, nothing. Just that the idea of someone who looked identical to the victim is playing on my mind. Waxworks! We literally just spent, like, 2 days in a museum dedicated to the idea. Everyone saw what happened! It crashed head first, you say? According to the many witness reports from those there at the time, yes. Were you not there at the exhibition grounds on the day? Yeah, the crack where the impact is at the bottom, not head first. Unlikely. I rarely leave my workshop. Yet another of your unique inventions was found at the scene. Well, it was the unveiling of a machine I'd labored over for many months. I saw it clearly with my own eyes, the birdcage plummeting head first into the tower. What a surprise! I believe the victim's neck was broken from the headlong fall, wasn't it? How would you have come by that information? Even an infernal recluse like me reads the newspapers, you know. According to the reports, 2 injuries were apparent on the victim's body. Yes, he'd been stabbed in the chest by a screwdriver believed to belong to the defendant, and he had broken vertebrae as a result of the fall from considerable height. Correct. My learned friend has been doing his research, it seems. Do we know which injury was the fatal one? Sadly not. Forensic science is not yet at a level where such things can be determined. Hey, 21 Snakes, how's it going? Hope you're doing well. Happy Saturday.
What we do know is that the victim died having sustained both injuries at some point during the experiment. And since he was found in the birdcage with his neck broken, it's obvious that he fell from a considerable height. Huh. Suppose that's hard to deny. Above their heads and then crashed head for. Okay, that's the one we're gonna present at. But first, let's press this. Terrible accident. So, you understand the science, did you? Not in the slightest. Oh, right. As I've said a number of times, I'm an engineer. My job is to manufacture according to the blueprints I'm given. I would be inviting manifold problems if I foolishly allowed my brain to digest the ideas behind them. I could be accused of stealing those ideas, for example. But how is it possible to construct a machine without really understanding the principles it relies on? And different sciences. Well, you're practicing law without really understanding the principles it relies on, aren't you? Rude! That's just offensive. A very good point.
Stand up for yourself, Mr. Naruhodo.
The point is, the experiment resulted in instantaneous kinesis taking place. As such, the science must be sound. Yes, and really, experimental results are all that matters when it comes to proving a hypothesis. He certainly seems very sure of himself.
What do you think, Mr. Naruhodo?
Well, now that the machine has been completely destroyed by yesterday's explosion, it's gonna be impossible to argue its authenticity one way or another.
But if we're unable to establish that it was a piece of stage trickery rather than genuine science, we will have no grounds on which to demonstrate Professor Harebrain's innocence.
Both Mr. Asman and this man in the stand tricked the professor and used him. They took advantage of his naivety and unbending belief in his work, and I won't let them get away with it. And seeing as the professor is an old friend of Lord Van Zeek's, what on earth must he be feeling towards Drebber? Alright. So he says that it crashed head first. Shit! I hit the wrong button! Sorry. Alright, we gotta... And the camera crashed again. This is... We might have to switch to PNG Tuber later, but maybe like when we take a break or something. I'll just keep fixing it for right now. Yep, you were there. Oh, I didn't actually fix it, or it just broke immediately. I don't really know. Please work. There it goes. Alright, broken vertebrae, yada yada. Fell from a considerable height. Okay. And this time I will not hit the right button. Okay, so he's saying fell head first. But we have a piece of evidence that shows the damage is at the base, so that's a little weird. Objection! Fucking camera, I object to you. Camera, I object to you! There we go. We've examined the birdcage that crashed in the Crystal Tower ourselves. As you can see, the cage, which is a wooden construction, has sustained damage in one particular spot. Following the explosion, it fell some 30 feet into the glass of the Crystal Tower. That level of damage is to be expected, surely. I agree. The damage itself is entirely understandable. What doesn't make sense is the location of that damage.
breakages in the wood are at the base of the birdcage, not the top. What are you saying?
That's the opposite of what they should be.
Yeah, no shit. That's right, my lord. The birdcage that was at the scene is damaged at its base. So we have reports of the birdcage falling headlong into the crystal tower, yet damage is at the bottom. The only way to reconcile these two facts is to accept that there were two bird cages in play that day, which were at some point switched. Switched during what wasn't a scientific experiment at all, but an elaborate piece of stage trickery. Ah! Sorry, Momo. He's like, what was that sound that came out of your mouth? Sorry, baby.
Good gracious! Explain yourself, witness!
Well... If we examine the facts, there's only one logical conclusion we can draw. The damage on the base of the birdcage clearly indicates that it crashed tail first into the tower.
Objection.
But multiple witness reports claim it fell head first. Birdcage materialized in the sky next to a balloon flying over the stage, following a spontaneous explosion, and at an altitude of some 60 feet above the ground level.
Which is approximately 18 meters.
It then proceeded to fall some 30 feet into the crystal tower in the ensuing deflagration. Witness reports amid such chaos are notoriously unreliable.
Objection.
But the victim's neck was broken.
Objection.
He plummeted 30 feet inside a heavy wooden cage. Wherever he fell, it would be unsurprising to find one or two of his vertebrae crushed. Okay, Clockwork Man. He's really funny. Fucking camera. Swear to God. Okay, hold on. We're gonna have to rewind a little bit. But let's fix this first. Ah, his goofy little theme. Alright, history, what'd he say? A riveting scientific analysis of events from the prosecution there. Now, to be even more rigorous, you would have to say it was the only one vertebrae, actually. It wasn't quite for long. What do you mean, only one vertebrae? A broken vertebrae, most likely resulting from impact after a sudden fall from considerable height. Okay, it does say a broken vertebrae.
I find it hard to see what's motivating Lord Van Zeeks. This witness is clearly a swindler, and one who deceived a personal friend of his.
Is Drebber mocking Van Zeeks? Probably. If you're going to establish this deception, do it right. Oh, okay.
Sorry?
I feel like that's the undertone here. Yes, and there's one more point. The defense appears to have forgotten. It obviously wasn't a trick, as a certain truth very plainly demonstrates. What?
It seems to me that the cross-examination had better continue until we resolve this matter. Mr. Drebber, you will amend your testimony with details of this truth.
Of course. You must treat the matter scientifically, after all. Ah, he nearly had him there. He's very good at the clockwork movement. The kinesis clearly took place because there's nowhere else 30 feet high for the birdcage to have fallen from. Oh, we established that yesterday. Hot air balloons.
Hold it!
Doing the robot. What do you mean? Well, before the demonstration began, the victim was alive on stage in front of the audience. Yes, and there are lots of witnesses who saw Mr. Asman on the experimentation stage, that's true. And the victim's neck broke as a result of an impact following a fall. Logically, therefore, the victim must have fallen from somewhere. The balloon that exploded was an altitude of 60 feet. The point of impact on the tower was 30 feet up. That difference of 30 feet is thereby the total distance the birdcage fell. And there's no other location from which the cage could have fallen that distance if it didn't drop out of the sky. What about this big old hole in the ground? I don't know if I have any other... Ergo, the victim himself must have been beamed from the stage into the sky above the crystal tower. Trenchant scientific analysis? Dear me, every time I hear it explained, it sounds increasingly plausible. Judge, please. Also, camera, please! Oh, yes. It's all very well thought out.
Certainly all the spectators of on the day saw it. The birdcage plummeting 30 feet through the air, I mean.
Irritatingly, yes. Oh shit. Damn it! That was not the button I wanted to hit. Okay. I was trying to hit A, but I hit Q. My bad. Hold on, we'll get back. I was trying to go back to that one statement. Alright, and then... Very sure of himself, yep. Okay, give me back the testimony, please. Thank you. There's nowhere else 30 feet high for the birdcage to have fallen from. What about the giant hole underneath? Ads? Oh, okay. Well, since we're ad breaking anyway, now's a good time for me to make the switch over to the PNG tuber, so we could do that. So, just give me a second here. Let me get that loaded up. Bum, 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 bum. Ads, fake me! There I am. Well, we're gonna have to PNG tuber this just because the camera's being kind of a jerk. What can you do? Can't do anything about it. We're gonna pet this cat. Okay. Let's look at our evidence while we're waiting. There we go. Okay. So, I know, Momo. I know. You sniffing my hand? We'll pet the cat and we'll look at evidence. Okay, so what I'm kind of thinking is it's either gonna be this one. Yeah, because that's about the same height. 30 feet, I think. Or it's gonna be the new photo with the hole. That's quite the deep hole. What's the point of that hole there anyway? Stage trickery at its finest. Okay, wrong. Cat's tired. Poor cat's tired. I'm gonna cat sleeping cam right now is what y'all get. Alright, let me pour myself some more tea. Got about 30 more seconds on the ads. Pato the catto? Okay, I'll pet the cat. He was trying to sleep, making me wake up the cat here. Sorry, Momo. They paid for it. The internet asked for you to be pet, so now we have to take a short break to pet you. Momo. He's very happy. I want you to know he's very pleased with being pet. He's just loving all the forced attention that you're granting him. Look at this boy. He's very happy. Very cute boy. Anyway, okay, so that should be over. My thought here is it has to be this, right? Because I mean, like, this is a sufficient height, and like, why else would you have a big old hole under the experiment space that drops down like this if it's not for stage magic trapdoors? Which we in the present time know is very common, but they don't know. They don't know. They're living in the past. Okay, let's go ahead and try this out. Objection! Nope, that was not it. Surely something in the last statement seems odd. No, okay. Why, he dinged me. Maybe it's the map then. That was the other one I was thinking. I know, he's so mad at us! Momo, don't bite that. You're getting a little too riled up now. Okay, let's try... Actually, we should probably save, huh? Just in case we mess this up too much. So I clearly think it has to be something to do with this statement. Okie dokie, so let's try... a sketch. The diagram?
Objection!
It was the diagram. This is a diagram of the experimentation stage and its surroundings. Don't play with that, cat. That's the cable for my microphone. There you go. Sit over here. Face that way. Good boy. Pew! We know that somehow the birdcage appeared in midair before falling down into the crystal tower. A fall of about 30 feet, or 9 meters. However, if you examine the diagram carefully, you'll see that there's one other possible location from which the birdcage could have fallen. The same distance of 30 feet. No. Well, it appears the fence has a possible explanation to put forward. Go ahead, Counsel. Yes, my lord. Of course. You will indicate the place to which you are referring on the same diagram. The alternative location from which the birdcage could have possibly fallen. The requisite 30 feet. From the stage, because there's a trapdoor. Take that! The place I'm referring to is here. Well, that's where the birdcage would have been to begin with. Which is exactly my point, my lord. Yes, the birdcage was in the machine on the stage, but what we must also consider... I can do my hand motions on the cat cam, isn't that funny? What we must also consider is the height of the stage itself. Go on, Counsel. It turns out that the experimentation stage was built at a considerable height above ground level. If you look at the diagram, in fact, you'll see it's about the same height as above the ground as the balloon was above the crash site. When the experiment got underway, the machine and the birdcage were engulfed in steam. At that moment, the floor of the stage gave way, and if we assume there to be a void underneath, this birdcage and the one seen by the audience would have fallen almost exactly the same distance. Did you look in the hole? Did y'all look in the hole when you looked up at the site? Huh? When you were doing your investigation, did you look what was underneath? Did you see what was going on down there? Did you maybe find blood? Or proof that a birdcage had fallen down there? Did you even look? Once again, my lord, this all points to the fact that there was not one birdcage, but two!
Objection!
My learned friend has no evidence that that stage had such a contrivance in its design. Actually, you gave it to me this morning. Or somebody gave it to me this morning. Thank you. Someone is responsible for the criminal destruction of the kinesis machine itself. It's true. However, the stage still stands. And take a moment to look at the photographic print of the scene following yesterday's explosion, which you so conveniently handed to me. Thank you so much. Good lord! The metal grill that formed the floor of the machine is undone! Yes, most likely blown open by the force of the explosion that destroyed the rest of the machine. And also, I would really like to point out that it's weird that it opens like that if it was not meant to do that. If that had no purpose, you know what I mean? The defense calls for the space below the stage to be investigated immediately. It's a natural opening if forces apply to it. Yes, exactly. Mr. Drebber. It was you who built the kinesis machine, which means that it was you who built the 2 bird cages that were used to carry out this deception. Whether Professor Harebrain's hypothesis is sound or not makes no difference. Because it's the construction of this machine that matters. A machine designed to take Mr. Asmund's life. And lay the blame firmly at the professor's door. Something that could only have been carried out by you, Mr. Enoch Drebber. Oh, you mad?
Objection!
Don't make the ink. That's not how that works! That's not how you use a saber on a bottle! That's not what happens! Why is he so extra? That's not the point. The point is, when you use a saber to open a wine bottle, you visually see a cut in the bottle, and it has to be a diagonal cut. Well, I guess maybe not. It's much better if it's diagonal cut. It's much easier if you go diagonal. There would be a clean cut here. It never just takes off the cork. That's impossible. There's physically no, there's actually literally no way to take out just the cork with a saber like that when you're slicing vertically. Doesn't happen. That's not how shit works. Like, you need a corkscrew, or like if you can technically use a knife, but you would have to like dig in there and like spin it and like, yeah. But anyway, it's totally fine to use a saber to open it, but the way they animated it where they didn't even bother to cut the bottle, that pisses me off. I've seen it in real life. My learned friend has reached the end of his wild assertions. I'm like so used to him just destroying the wine, and it's like I can't even take issue with it anymore. But the fact that they didn't do the bottle just the cool saber cutting of a bottle justice, because that shit looks really neat in real life. Annoying as hell, and really easy to mess up and like make a huge mess everywhere. But when you get it right, it looks really cool. Didn't do it justice. Anyway. Prosecution would like to crush the defense's arguments slowly, but surely. What? Huh? Eh? Your argument fails to hold water. On 2 counts. 2? Firstly, before and after the experiment, this witness went nowhere near the kinesis machine. Every relevant member of staff from the exhibition has attested to that. He doesn't have to. He just has to design it so that when the experiment happens, like, the way that he wants things to happen will be what actually happens, because he built it. And like, Professor Harebrain has no idea how it actually works. Just doesn't know. And I believe members of Scotland Yard have also been on watch duty at every public experiment. In other words, Mr. Drebber had no opportunity to switch the alleged pair of bird cages, except we know that there's people on payroll for the secret underground evil that lurks under London, so you know, it's all in design.
Objection!
But I've already explained why he wouldn't have had needed to. The body switch, my dude. He's talking about the body switch. The nonsense with the crossbow? That doesn't bolster your case at all. The man who disappeared from the stage and the man who crashed into the tower are one and the same. The forensic investigation team's report is unequivocal on that point. Ah! And the second flaw in your assertion is a distinct lack of motive. So, on the first point, what we need to do is point out the fact that I'm pretty sure it's the coroner, Courtney Sith / Courtney Stevens, because really we're the same name, are the same person and in on it for whatever reason. And I don't know, out for revenge of some kind, that for some not obvious reason yet. Why would this man have wanted to take the victim's life? He had no reason to do so. Well, discovering him crawling out of his grave, like however many years ago that was, did kind of ruin him, so I guess that could be a reason. Maybe. A motive. Do I have to think of everything myself? Yeah, you kind of do. I have here a contract provided by the witness. What contract is this, Lord Van Zeeks? The contract into which Mr. Trevor entered with the victim, Mr. Asman, reads: Mr. Trevor is to receive 30% of all remunerations for government grants or other income. 30%? Certainly very favorable contractual conditions. There was one very important provision bolted onto that clause. What provision? Mr. Trevor may only uphold this right on the condition that both contracting parties are alive. He's not doing it for the money, he's doing it for some weird revenge plot. In other words, if either of us were to die, the contract would become null and void. So you see, I had nothing to gain from Mr. Asman's death. Stop chewing on that, Momo. The diametric opposite, in fact. Ugh. They never make it easy. Need I say more? The witness had neither an opportunity nor a reason to commit the alleged crime. In short, the possibility of Mr. Trevor having done as you suggest is nil. Ah! Can't scream too loud with Momo right next to me. It seems the defense's assertion was somewhat wide of the mark. Lord Van Zeeks, you will submit the contract as evidence, please. The contract between Mr. Asman and Mr. Drebber detailing the terms by which they would profit from the kinesis experiment. It's true. Hold up, we gotta read this. Terms of investment. The investor, Mr. Odie Asman, hereby enters into contract with the provider, Mr. Enoch Trevor, to fund labor and materials for construction of a super high voltage instantaneous kinesis machine. Mr. Trevor is to receive 30% of all remunerations from government grants or other income. Mr. Trevor may only uphold this right on condition that both contracting parties are alive. Trevor had no opportunity to switch the birdcage under the stage with the one in the Crystal Tower. He couldn't have done it. And in any case, I have no idea what his motive might have been.
It is one aspect of your argument. It still holds true, however. There were 2 bird cages. The prosecution is unable to deny that.
Ah!
So I'm sure you're on the right lines, Mr. Naruhodo. And I've no doubt there are other aspects of your assertion that are undeniable truths too.
Sasato is always trying to believe in us. Well, it would seem that the defense has no rejoinder to offer. Well, I must say I'm a little surprised. I came here to testify about the machine I built, and instead my reputation is defiled. But the prosecution's counter has set the record straight, I think. It's impossible that I'm the culprit.
Objection!
Good job, Ryunosuke. At the beginning of this trial, we believed that there was only one birdcage. Yet now we know there must have been two. In other words, there was more to the demonstration than we realized at first. I think it's abundantly clear that the same applies to the culprit. Get to the point. The stage demonstration was constructed and set up in its entirety by you, Mr. Drebber. Therefore, it's inconceivable that you had no hand in the events that transpired. So, circumstances mean it's impossible that you could have carried out the crime yourself. It points to the fact that someone else was involved. Courtney Sith, I'm pretty sure. Someone else? Counsel, are you suggesting? Yes, my lord. Mr. Drebber had an accomplice.
Objection!
An accomplice now? Well then, I presume you're prepared for what's to come? Now that you're accusing not only this witness, but someone else of the most serious of crimes. If these accusations turn out to be false, then make no mistake. The prosecution will demand an equally serious punishment for your slander. Well, counsel, do you intend to pursue this course and formally accuse another party of involvement in this matter? Cat's gone. Now we have a cat cam, but no cat. He'll come back, I believe. We just fix it, though, because he was knocking over his mat all over the place. What do I do here? At the moment, this is a little more than a hunch on my part. I don't know for sure if Drebber had an accomplice, or even if he really is the culprit here. One way or another, though, I have to make my position clear, as a lawyer. So what's my stance going to be? Did Drebber have an accomplice, or not? And we're saving. Name the accomplice. The defense is ready to name Mr. Drebber's accomplice. Gotta do something. Somehow the two bird cages must have been switched. Everything points to that. Yet according to the coroner's report, that's not a possibility. So who could have done it but the coroner herself? But that inconsistency itself is a clue. Counsel? My lord? You have received a stark warning already. If you're nevertheless determined, then I must now ask you to identify this alleged accomplice by name. So, your answer, please. Who do you claim to have been Mr. Drebber's accomplice? A coroner.
Take that!
The name of the person in question is... What's wrong, my Nipponese friend? Surely fear doesn't bind your tongue now. It's a little late for that. Of course, I'm afraid. After all, naming her in this capacity is definitely going to make waves. A lot of waves. I could very well turn every single person in this courtroom against me.
I'm sure it will be all right, Mr. Naruhodo.
Thank you, Susato.
The enemy always appears larger than life, but you'll appear exactly the same to the enemy.
Alright then, here goes. You've kept us waiting long enough. Your answer, counsel, now. The person who colluded with Mr. Drebber in order to carry out this wicked crime is Scotland Yard's coroner, Dr. Courtney Sith. What? What in the blazes are you talking about? Dr. Sith? head of the forensic investigation team and the coroner who conducted the autopsy on the victim? We know there were 2 bird cages, so who could have carried out the switch to complete the illusion? The accident happened in front of a huge crowd of spectators, and the area was immediately sealed off. Then everyone, police officers included, were banished to make way for the forensic investigation team. When else could the switch have occurred? It can only have been in that team's presence. It is essential that the court determines exactly what happened following the incident. The defense demands that Dr. Sith be summoned to the witness stand at once to testify. I'm glad we're not getting too many interruptions with the peanut gallery this time. I was getting real sick of that shit. You've got another nerve, lad! Standing up there, dogging the odds name through the mud. I didn't mean to. I know the woman very well. There's no better dead room worker out there. How dare you call her a criminal? Look, revenge makes people do crazy things. Just don't worry about it. My learned friend's imagination appears to be wilder than the East End at night. But the recklessness of your accusation aside, there's another grave problem with your argument. One which the prosecution demands you address at once. A grave problem?
Oh my word.
Who do you claim acted as the victim's doppelganger? Well, what? Certainly if the bird cage containing the body of the victim was exchanged for another, that cage must also have contained a body. And yet, no missing persons or accidental deaths of anyone even remotely resembling the victim have been reported. Which means there was no one, dead or alive, who could have fulfilled the role of a body double for Mr. Asman. It's true, nobody dead or alive could have, but a waxwork which is neither dead or alive. That's true. If my argument is that there were 2 bird cages, then there must have also been 1 person inside each. But I don't know if I've got an answer to this yet, have I? I do. What can I do to reveal how this body stunt was achieved? Present evidence. Very well. The defense will address my learned friend's concerns. We did it back at him? We just called Van Zeeks my learned friend? Did we just seriously do it back at him? That's hilarious. I love this. Thank you. We're learning! By presenting evidence that reveals the true nature of Mr. Asman's body double. Good gracious, evidence? I do hope this isn't filibustering, counsel. The court is expecting a name. If you think you have relevant evidence, present it now. The body double and the birdcage were hiding inside the balloon that was floating above the stage, which means that any witness would only have seen them from 60 feet away. So who was it that appeared out of that explosion some 18 meters above the spectators? Aha! The body double inside the second birdcage was... the head of the Professor Waxwork that was stolen from the Madame Tussauds exhibit. It was the stolen waxwork! We know that the victim, Mr. Asman, was in the birdcage that was situated inside the kinesis machine on stage. And therefore, he couldn't have been inside the second birdcage. Instead, that contains something else. What's been described as a body double, which is what fell from the sky and crashed into the Crystal Tower. Yes, counsel, according to your somewhat elaborate version of events. And that body double inside the second birdcage was, in fact...
It's all right, Mr. Naruhodo. You're ready for this. Just steel yourself and come out with it.
Thank you, Mrs. Sato. I needed that. As I was saying, the body double inside the second birdcage was, and as unbelievable as it may seem, that thing there. I like how we brought it to the courthouse for some reason.
Objection!
Open your eyes and look into mine, my Nipponese friend. Now tell me, what are you playing at? It was stolen. What do you think he did with it? Why would Drebber steal the damn thing if he wasn't going to use it for something? And then he returned it after the accident. Little suspicious. Stand firm now, Ryunosuke. This is the time to show your Japanese spirit. As the court will observe, this is a waxwork model. A model, in fact, of an infamous London murderer from 10 years ago. The Professor!
Objection!
Not to be confused with Professor Layton. You started by indicating that the leader of the forensic investigation team as an accomplice in this crime. And now you've moved on to indicting. Now you've moved on to indicting Waxworks? Yes! That's about the size of it. Every puzzle has an answer. It does, yeah. Uh-huh. That's what Layton says. And why? And why this waxwork? Because it's the one Drebber stole, duh. It looks nothing like the victim. In fact, it could hardly resemble him less. What possible justification can you give? If you want to know why, ask Mr. Drebber. Look at him sweat. I'm on to you. What? Just days before Professor Harebrain performed his public demonstration, Mr. Drebber abducted this model from Madame Tussauds. Did you say abducted? Yeah, it was held for ransom. And 2 days after the incident of the Great Exhibition, he returned it to the museum. Then, the timing. Is this true, Mr. Drebber? At first, I couldn't see why Mr. Drebber would have stolen the waxwork and then given it back again, because, you know, that's weird, right? We all think that's weird. But now the reason is clear. He took it so that he could put it inside the second birdcage as a body double for Mr. Osmond. Gah! We broke him!
Objection!
Are you hearing this, ladies and gentlemen of the jury? Are you hearing the defense's astonishing proposal? That the witness fabricated this vast machine with the intention of deceiving some wretched scientist? That he did so in collusion with the country's finest coroner on a public stage in front of a vast audience? Yo, peak magician acting, right? Peak magic. Peak stage magic. And that to the effect of the deception, he used a waxwork model that in no way resembles the victim. Except it probably actually was him. I'm just saying. Guys don't know who the professor is, but like there's gotta be a link because it's weird that we keep bringing this up. Are we really to believe this far-fetched tale? What do you decide?
Objection!
Baby slap. Wait!
Yes, if you put it like that, of course it sounds implausible. My lord! I need to speak, if you please. Go ahead, Mr. Foreman. Myself and my colleagues have reached an agreement. God damn it. I hate fighting the jury. Very good, in that case. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, you will state your leanings for the court to hear now.
Guilty! Guilty!
We've gone this whole damn case without doing this dumb shit.
Kill me.
So, as indicated by the foreman, the jury has reached a consensus. I knew that was gonna happen. Summation, proclamation, or whatever it's called. Do the thing.
We shall get through this, Mr. Naruhodo, as we always do. And uncover some new truths along the way, I'm quite sure.
Yes, I agree. I'm gonna have to appeal to the jurors as usual and see if I can persuade them to change their minds. The defense will now embark on a summation examination. That was the word. The defense will now embark on a summation examination. They don't even wait for him to say that he's gonna do it. They just assume that he's gonna do it. Are you and your fellows ready to proceed, Mr. Foreman? We are, my lord. Very well. In that case, I ask you now to state clearly for all present to hear the grounds on which each of you has decided that the defendant is guilty of the crime which he is charged. The jurors' contentions. I like how 6 is first. We're not going in numerical order because, you know, he's very adamant about this. I've known that woman for years. She'd never be an accomplice to anything. Utter nonsense to think those two would ever be conniving with one another.
Oh dear, this is the most troubling. But surely the waxwork the man stole has nothing to do with the coroner, is it?
I've had my own problems with members of the police. I do not trust them much.
I've seen no rigorous proof that this waxwork was ever inside the birdcage. It's conjecture.
Choosing someone without white evidence? He's not a proper job, is he? I will have it.
I love how she just has a bunch of corn with her. And they just don't care. Somewhat unsurprisingly, it seems the introduction of this waxwork model to the proceedings has polarized opinion. I know, corn. She's very corny. Given that its face is obscured and its build in no way resembles that of the victim, I can only applaud my learned friend's temerity at suggesting it as Mr. Asmon's body double. Can we ask Madame Dispel to come and unlock that and see what the face on the inside looks like, if there is one? This would be really funny if it looked like Mr. Asmon. Just saying, it would be really funny and, like, put a lot of this to bed, and that would be, like, much quicker. Yes, the applause is deafening, and yes, I know, it seems extraordinary. But that's the point. That's why I have a strong feeling it's actually a greater clue than anyone yet realizes.
What are you thinking, Mr. Naruhodo?
I can't explain why at the moment, but I feel as though there's a specific reason why it was used. Why it had to be this model.
Really? A reason why nothing else would do, you mean?
Yes, and I'm convinced. It's something far more significant than whether or not the model looked like the victim.
Well, if that's the case, we must prevent the trial from ending prematurely at all costs.
Yes, agreed. I have to find a way out of this. You're ready, counsel. You may proceed with the summation examination. Yes, my lord. The defense's rebuttal. He's known that woman for years. Again, really funny that 6 is going first. Okay, anyway.
Hold it!
The order of things seem to have changed around here for some reason.
I'm a copper, lad. It's a cobbler's discretion to bend the rules sometimes when needs must.
What's wrong with that? Why do you have a gun on you? Why did you bring your gun and why are you pointing it in the air at right this moment? That's not safe. You're not painting a very good, clear picture of public safety right here. I'm just gonna, like, shoot people for disagreeing with you. Said gun is cocked, by the way. Oh, you are correct. Where do I start?
I've been working at the yard for 40-odd years.
That's even more than I thought.
We've only had a metropolitan police service in town for 70 years, you know. Of course, damn times have changed. Public didn't trust coppers back when I started. It was rough.
I don't trust you now with you swinging that gun around.
We had to fight crime, and we had to fight to win the public's trust as well. And win we did. Forensic science was in its infancy, too. Even more than it is now. And she spearheaded the revolution.
Dr. Sith, you mean?
That's right. About 10 years ago now it was, when I was still a youngish boy on the beat.
"10 years ago, he was young. 10 years ago, he was young. Right?
That's when she started making a name for herself as a top-class coroner. And look at her now, head of the forensic investigation team, and a woman no less. Hey, rude. Well, you won't hear me complain. It's what we all dreamt of back then, I tell you.
Could you tell me without holding that gun in the air?
We were all out to uphold justice, lad. Full of vim we were, full of vim.
That's coming across loud and clear.
Total nonsense to think those two would ever be conniving with one.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Hold it!
Nonsense, you say. But we're only just starting to understand this case. What are you reading there, sir?
The man behind those matters on the Solar Pond Street was caught in 2 days flat. That's real policing for you.
That's really not relevant to this case, is it?
You're wrong there. Because it was Dr. Sith in charge of examining the bodies. And it was evidence arising from her work that led to the arrest of the scoundrel responsible.
Oh.
That's right. Oh, that woman is at the forefront of this country's fight against crime. The idea that she's somehow involved in this murky business is a loadable tosh.
I thought it was up to me to press the jurors, not the other way around. Surely the waxwork the man stole's nothing to do with the coroner.
Hold it!
Why would you assume that?
Well, quite simply because that unsettling swindler has no relationship with the woman, does he?
True. As it stands, we don't know any of the connection.
Oh gosh, but it would be delightfully romantic if they were somehow to have a mutual interest in the waxwork.
Romantic?
A woman of society such as myself views everything in terms of relationships, you know.
Well, you learn something new every day, even if you don't want to.
One might wonder about a possible relationship between the defendant and this coroner woman. Or perhaps between the defendant and the handsome prosecutor just there.
This woman may be more astute than I've been giving her credit for. Look, high society women be like that. She's a shipper, yes, but they also they're very observant because they're looking for things to nitpick at. They have nothing better to do.
If that's the woman's stance, then perhaps demonstrating some connection between the waxwork and Dr. Sith would be enough.
Yes, I agree. As soon as we have even a whiff of a connection, she'll be the first to know. Yeah, she might be a good angle to take. He has his own problems with the police, and he doesn't trust them.
Hold it!
What sort of problems?
Let's just say we have a run into each other on numerous occasions while I've been performing on the street.
Right, I see.
Obviously, artists such as myself cannot appear on stage as we work in close proximity to our audiences. So we perform our great magic in parks, on street corners and the like. But the police use any excuse to make our lives difficult.
You got something to say there, buddy?
Excuse me.
Excuse me. Do you have something to say in response to that, Mr. Ottermole?
Who are you calling a mass murderer?
Sorry, my mistake. I got confused because I heard you look like him.
I don't look anything like the man. You want to be locked up, sonny?
Twirling a cocked gun on his finger. This man makes me feel very unsafe. Thanks, Mr. Sholmes. Perhaps we could move on. I was really wondering if you had something you wanted to add in response to what juror number 3 just said. And clearly you do.
Back in my day, back in the good old days, it wasn't like this.
What was it like, sir?
We worked our fingers to the bone to earn the public's trust, we did. And by Jove, we earned it. People respected us back then. Respected you? No one would have called a coroner into question them in their days. Coroner's report was the hallmark of an investigation done right. Especially when Dr. Courtney Stevens put her name to it.
Sorry, Dr. Stevens? Dr. Courtney Stevens? I thought her name was Dr. Sith. Are we talking about the same doctor here? Perhaps. Would you like to tell me more? This series has taught us on the contrary so many times. Yes. Yes.
She was the best of the best. And the apple of the... And the apple of the Force's eye.
Hold on a minute. What are you talking about? Who's Courtney Stevens? Thank you, Ryunosuke, for just picking up on that right away. I appreciate it.
Ah, sorry. Got a bit carried away there.
Stevens is Dr. Sith's maiden name. Her maiden name? So that was before she was married.
Of course, yeah, silly me. It's Sith now, isn't it?
Stevens. You mean the person who performed the autopsy on the professor and knows exactly what he looks like. And probably also knows that it is Odie Osman. I'm sure I've seen that name somewhere recently.
Anyway, the point is, those were the great days of policing, not like now.
Sorry to interrupt, sir. But do you think you could change your statement to include that name?
Well, yes, I don't see why not.
Thank you. We're gonna get back to you later.
She was Courtney Stevens back when I knew her, of course, a legendary coroner even then.
Let's talk about that a little more. She was a legendary, was she?
What did you say? That woman is still the best coroner in the land! Head of the forensic investigation team!
Legendary was your description, sir, not mine.
Rubbish! That word never passed my lips! I'd never describe anybody that way, ever! Not even if they were still in the game!
I think this dude's a little... maybe going a little senile. I think the point you're trying to make is that Dr. Sith is an extremely talented coroner. Would that be fair?
It would! If it weren't for the fact that you're trying to drag the legendary woman's reputation through the mud.
Oh my god, he just said it again after he said he never says that word. And he's still waving the gun around, yes. There are multiple reasons to facepalm at this man. I'm gonna pretend I didn't hear that, legendary. Just makes things easier. Let's go back to his testimony and see what he wanted to finish saying.
Hold it!
What sort of problems? Performing on the streets, yada yada yada. Can't appear some magic parks, yeah. Police use any excuse to make his lives difficult.
Sometimes they even cook up a story to extort monies from the poor. Well, that's definitely not right. Yes, and it is why I say that if you trust the police, you will have trouble. But here you are, claiming this waxwork model was stolen to star in an illusionary spectacular. The idea is so wild, I think I will take my chances and believe the authorities on this occasion. This is how the public at large views Scotland Yard, is it?
Our own police force in Tokyo is not even 20 years old yet, is it?
Yeah, money extortion, that's why it's an issue.
Perhaps we should view what's happened here in London as a measure of what may happen at home.
Yes, like a Scotland Yard stick. I wonder how a policeman would feel listening to this, the way this juror speaks about the force. I'm sure you'd have a word or two to say in response. You already did. No rigorous proof that the waxwork was ever inside the birdcage.
Hold it!
But you claimed the whole instantaneous kinesis demonstration was a trick. That I did, but there's more than one way to pull a rabbit out of a hat, isn't there? Sorry? I grant you, given that this cage appeared from amidst an explosion, there'd have been no need to use a real person. But her waxwork had been used, the culprit could at least have the decency to make it look like the victim. I'm not sure exactly how much criminals are governed by decency. The point is, if you're going to make a claim about that waxwork being inside the birdcage, you need to give us some evidence. Without that, it's just not science.
Suppose we should expect nothing less than a logical argument from a fellow of the Royal Society. But that perhaps means his mind could be changed if we manage to present suitable evidence.
Evidence that the professor waxwork was inside that birdcage. Huh. Can I produce that or not? I don't think I have anything as of yet. When the lens is extended, dark stainings visible in the bellows. Yeah. Glass. Nothing so obvious. I don't think I have anything yet. This piece of glass is almost as thick as it is wide.
Yes, I've never seen anything like it.
If you were to compare it to a human, only Mr. Sholmes has such thick skin.
There's really no need for such a comparison, Mr. Naruhodo, as you well know.
Anyway, it can only be from the Crystal Tower, surely.
Yes, I think so too. It was probably made especially to meet the demands of that great structure.
Well, this is the one that actually had Mr. Aspen in it, so you wouldn't get anything out of that. I don't think I have anything yet. I have nothing. Well, I can state quite categorically, sir, that we have no such evidence at the present time. That much was abundantly clear before the Brassy Proclamation, I assure you. Why, you can count on the fact that I shan't be changing my leaning.
Oh dear, that proclamation was even brassier than yours, Mr. Naruhodo.
If only we had some evidence, things might be different, though. Alright, let's see... Yeah, I don't have proper evidence yet.
ask, why have you brought that corn into court with you?
Colonel Cobb, he's been growing back on the farm. Picked him off on me way into town. He's a proper nibbler, he is.
Yes, the nibbling seems to be taking quite a while. Maybe you could wait until after the trial?
Oh, I don't like the sound of that. You need corners at times like these. Whenever I'm somewhat big to decide, the corners always point me in the right direction, see?
You're talking about your cob of corn.
Nibble, nobble, guilty bubble. Nibble, not guilty out. Nibble, nobble, guilty bubble. Nibble, not guilty out. Nibble, nobble, guilty bubble. Nibble, not guilty out. Nibble, nobble, guilty bubble. Nibble, not guilty out.
What is happening?
Perhaps it's akin to fortune telling with flower petals like people do back home.
That's a lot of corn. You mean corn? It's a lot of corn. So Professor Harebrain's fate is to be decided by a cob of corn. Would you not at least wait until we've had more time to find the truth before deciding on the defendant's guilt?
Oh, I don't know about that. Me tum's awfully full already.
Amazing. I see what you did there. Yep, you see what he did there too. Amazing! I know it seems a little far-fetched to think that the waxwork model of the professor was in that birdcage, but on the other hand, it explains a lot.
There really is a reason why that particular waxwork had to be used as Mr. Asmund's double. We must do everything we can to make the jurors understand it.
The truth is, I'm sure that's the key to this, but it's the most puzzling part of it, too.
In that case, you should see what additional information you can glean whilst trying to change the juror's mind. You can read a book whilst eating a rice cracker, Mr. Naruhodo. I'm sure you can do this.
What? What? Right, yes. Okay, so I can't present you guys anything, except that one guy. But I can pit people against each other. Utter nonsense to think they'd ever be conniving with one another. Surely the waxwork the man stole has nothing to do with the coroner. Doesn't trust the police. I think we already got what we needed out of that guy. Surely the waxwork the man stole is nothing to do with the coroner. Oh, it is though. Because she was Courtney Stevens. And she did the autopsy on Drubber. Or sorry, not on Drubber, on on the professor. Okay. So we're gonna pit you against him. She was Courtney Stevens, and that has something to do with the waxwork that was stolen. Okay, let's do it.
Objection!
Objection! Sorry, I was late on that. Those two statements clearly contradict each other. Good gracious! To whose statements do you refer, counsel? So, juror number 2.
Oh gosh, me? Well, what can I do for you?
I presume that you heard what juror number 6 said in his statement. It's brought to light that the maiden name of the coroner, Dr. Sith, which in turn has revealed a connection that wasn't apparent before.
Well, naturally, as a woman of society, I find such connections and relationships irresistible. And oh golly, I'm afraid I fail to see what you mean.
Dr. Sith's maiden name is Stevens, and through that name, the coroner is very definitely linked to the waxwork of the killer. The defense has evidence to prove it.
My goodness, evidence you say? How utterly enthralling.
Counsel, the court cannot overlook that last remark. I very much hope that there is substance to your claim. Of course, my lord. I would ask the court to look at this. The evidence that clearly links Dr. Sith to the mass murderer known as the Professor. But hold on. Before we do this, I do see that an ad is coming up. So before we really get into it, I'm gonna let it play so that you guys don't miss anything. So we'll take a quick 3-minute break and then we'll present this. All right? See you guys in 3 minutes. BRB.
Scout. Hope you're settling into your solo camping adventure. Don't be disheartened if you can't find a needy ghost immediately. I intentionally picked a safe island that's not too haunted. When you finally find a ghost, try to help it make peace with itself, and when you do it, you'll finally graduate to 2nd degree. I'm Scoutmaster Blake. Yes, I'll write to you every day, unless I get busy. One common log cabin, large potted plant. Okay. Sir? Scoutmaster Blake. Hi. Hello. Parfait here. You certainly did not send me to a relatively unhaunted island where I might take me a little bit to find a ghost friend. You, in fact, sent me to a very haunted island of bears. Sir? One that curses people and traps them here. So thanks for that. Killed Mr. Kitty. Jesus!
Mr. Stickler shouts, at which point the victim turns his head to look, and the killer fires his pistol. And that's why the bullet hit him in the right temple. No contradictions, right?
We broke something, guys. Trucy became a block of tofu. It's like tofu % in Resident Evil.
We broke her. Tofu, what are you doing in this game? Look, look. Both made by Capcom. Both made by Capcom. I'm just gonna leave it at that.
You look pink. Tender and very cute.
Alright, chat, I'm back. Sorry, that ad break was a little bit scuffed. The ad's actually delayed a little bit. It was weird. But anyway, there we go. I was trying to get the cat, so it took me a little longer to get back anyway. He made this cat right here. This is Chirico, different cat than we had on earlier. He made me chase him around the house. He was like meowing at me, and then I had to follow him, and he made me go around the house to follow after him. And after a while, I just kind of gave up and came back, and I was like, oh, that took longer than I wanted it to, because you made me go around the house looking for you. Because he wants me to pet him, but he like was being very indecisive about it. Anyway, all right, let's do this. Let's present this autopsy report. The evidence that clearly links Dr. Sith to the mass murderer known as the Professor.
Take that!
There we go. Take that! I have here a certain autopsy report from 10 years ago. A 10-year-old autopsy report? What relevance does that have? It is, of course, from the autopsy of the person portrayed in the waxwork. The killer known as the Professor. The Professor's... But the man was a capital offender, so... That's right. This is the certification of death that was drawn up after the convict's execution. The identity of the killer was never made public, so the report gives few details. But what's important is the name of the coroner who wrote it. Courtney Stevens.
Oh my! Courtney Stevens?
Strike a light! It appears that the professor's autopsy was conducted by Dr. Sith 10 years ago. And a few days ago, Mr. Drebber very deliberately stole the waxwork of the professor from Madame Tuspel's. A waxwork that doesn't, in fact, resemble the victim, Mr. Asmund, at all. Uncock that gun, sir. I know, right? Very uncomfortable.
And do you suppose there's some unsavory relationship between those events?
Absolutely. I'm sure of it. There's no doubt in my mind that the professor's case is at the heart of a link that we have yet to uncover. Between Dr. Courtney Sith and Mr. Enoch Drebber.
Hidden links, mysterious connections, secret relationships. This is all most extraordinary. We're surely obliged now to explore this further.
She just wants some good old-fashioned gossip, so she's gonna say not guilty. Right. We can't let this trial come to an end now. Oh, good, you agree. Not while there's still this cloud of suspicion hanging over the yard's best corner. It wasn't like this in my day, but we're still here to uphold justice in the end. Heck yeah. Alright, that's 2. I just need a couple more.
It's the professor! That's what links this frightful swindler and the coroner.
Accusing someone... Oh, oops. I did not mean to go that far. Forgot 6 was 1. Alright, so he's done. So now we gotta look at the others. Nonsense to think that they would ever be conniving with one another. So he thinks there's no way they could be working together. He's had problems with the police and he doesn't trust them. He wants proof that the waxwork was inside the bird cage. And she just wants evidence. Accusing someone without right evidences is not a proper job. So these two both want evidence. They both want evidence, but I don't know if I have evidence is the thing. Wait a minute. It looks like layers of thick canvas with a thick rubber lining of sorts. I've never seen anything like it before. But applying Mr. Shum's methods, you might deduce it was part of a raincoat worn by someone who really didn't want to get wet. And the charring must have occurred when the person was struck by lightning. Or maybe not. Yeah, that's not where we're going with this. So this was a part of the balloon we were saying. Apparent stab wound to the chest. Neck was broken. Metal screwdriver. Not really much else to look at with this. I mean, there's nothing we have here that shows. Bit of breathing room. Yeah, it is a little bit of breathing room. I still don't know what to do. But we need evidence that the mannequin was in the bird cage. Why would they be... No rigorous proof that the waxwork was ever inside the bird cage. Accusing someone without right evidences is not a proper job. He has issues with the police. Nonsense to think they would be conniving with one another. What was in that trophy? Has it ever been looked at? You want to look at the trophy? We can look at the trophy. So this had the label about how it's a Royal Society award. So that's why we were like, oh yeah, like he really must have been like a very bright scientist when he was younger. But I don't see anything else with this. Man, I wish there was something else to look at with this. Can't find anything out of place. It's like not even a dent or anything. That's just the lock. No scorch marks, no dents, no anything. There's something that's bugging you? Tell me. Tell me what's bothering you. I'm open. So we have the wax head. Yes, that's what we're looking at. Well, supposedly there's a head inside. Now about the bird cage. Well, the thing is, the bird cage that we have Yes, those are burbs. They're very cute. This is the one that the actual the actual OD Asmon was in, because it's the one that was damaged on the bottom. What we don't have is the bird cage where... We don't have the other bird cage, the one that fell down head first that the waxwork should have been in. That would have been another thing we could have looked at to been like, aha, I got you. But like, no, this is the wrong one here. Death by hanging confirmed at midnight. And then there was this, which had the inside. But this is from the Drebber waxwork. Let me just try pressing them again, get some more info. We're only just understanding the case. Real policing. Alright, it was Dr. Sith in charge of examining the bodies. And her evidence is what led to it. Okay. Yeah, that she's somehow involved in this murky business is a load of old tosh. Okay. Yeah, he's had his own problems with the police. You don't like the police. You two are talking about evidence, but I don't know. It seems it would be weird to... They both want us to produce... 4 and 5 both want us to produce evidence, and I feel like that's not a contradiction. So it'd be weird to pit them against each other. Alright, let's just save. And then maybe see if we can just present something.
Hold it!
Let's talk to him. It is a hell of a conundrum. We're saying it's a trick. No use your... Yeah, waxwork I'm gonna use. The culprit could at least have a decency to make it look like the victim. The point is, if you're gonna... You need to give us some evidence. Okay, without that, it's not just science. We're gonna make a claim about the waxwork being in the birdcage. We need proof. Managed to present suitable evidence. Okay. What if I show him the head on and like try to like on the premise in our mind? I don't know if Ryunosuke is gonna make this jump though, is the thing, because it's always hard to tell, because we can be thinking one thing and the game's like, nope, that's not how Ryunosuke's brain works, and you're like, ugh. What if we present it on the assumption that if we can get the key to open it up, we can confirm if the head is intact or not, if it was damaged on the inside, right? Maybe. We need Madame to spells. Actually, I have something I'd like you to see, sir. Oh? I must warn you that I firmly believe it's only wise to trust men in white coats. So given your jet black outfit, I don't mind admitting to a sense of trepidation here. So you don't trust anyone in black? Looking in the mirror must be very trying. I do have some evidence that proves the waxwork was inside that birdcage, namely... Oh, I don't know if this is gonna work. I would really like it if we could look inside the head. That's right. It doesn't hurt. Well, it will hurt. But it won't end the game, right? That's the point. It's a verdant blue... Look. He thinks... From what... We're wearing a glamour, but what he sees is still Ryunosuke in his student uniform, which is all black. So it's fine. I accept it.
Take that!
Let's try this. Let me start by showing you this! It's an unimpressive opening, if I'm honest. What comes next is the real point. It's already apparent that what comes next is equally disappointing, Council. Okay. How about after that?
The waxwork of the professor was inside the second bird cage. I would assume that means it must have crashed into the crystal tower.
Yeah, that's right. I'd managed to think it through to that point myself.
Well, it's really—
Hold on! Where did we find this? It was in the clothes of the fucking professor thing! I forgot that that's where we picked this up! Oh my god, I had it all along. I forgot. It's been a while. It's been a while. I forgot. Okay. It's really only a tiny leaf from there. Evidence the Professor Waxwork was inside the birdcage. Yeah, I have it. Okay, I have it. I forgot. It triggered. My brain got there in the end, okay? I can't. Darjeelingling. I can't pat to the Kato unless you bring me one. Do you see this? The cat cam? It is empty. You must bring me a cat. I will hydrate though. And posture check. No, you can bring me a cat. I'm still reading. Alright, so he doesn't trust us because we're wearing black. Yeah. Namely, that this shard of broken glass was inside the folds of the clothing of the Professor Waxwork. Take that! What's this? A piece of glass? Though it's unusually thick for glass. Yes, it's a piece of broken glass that we found inside the jacket on the waxwork. Hello, Momo. As you say, it's not ordinary glass, though. It's very thick and clearly made for extra strength. Much like this special glass that was developed for the construction of the Crystal Tower. The Crystal Tower? Holy smoke! Exactly! The centerpiece of the Great Exhibition where the very incident we're talking about took place. On the day in question, the birdcage fell from above and smashed through a window of that special glass. From whence this small piece originated, is that it? Precisely. So, what do you say? Now that clear evidence in support of the assertion has been placed before you. Well, as I said, I only trust men in white coats as a rule. However, when the reasoning is sound, it's fair to say color shouldn't come into it. In light of what you've shown me here, yes, I feel obliged to change my position on the matter. In that case, juror number 4, you will amend your statement now, please. Damn straight. The presence of that piece of glass leaves me in a little doubt that the waxwork was indeed inside that birdcage. Now I can pit you against juror number 5 who wanted evidence. Alrighty, here we go. There's your evidence. Those two statements clearly contradict each other. Good gracious! To whose statements do you refer, counsel? The one we just changed, obviously. If you could put down your corn for a moment, juror number 5, just a second. Put the corn down.
Oh, you mean me?
You've pointed out that it's wrong to make an accusation without evidence, but the accusation that the waxwork model was inside the second birdcage on the day in question is not without supporting evidence, as the defense demonstrated to the juror sitting beside you.
Oh, is that right?
Would it be fair to say you didn't follow the argument?
Well, I don't understand much besides Colonel Cobb, to be honest.
Of course, you don't. If I could interject here. Please do, sir. Now that this assertion of yours about the waxwork has been backed up by some solid evidence, it would be wrong of me as a man of science not to pursue the matter further. Bam! Fuck yeah!
Well, me too then.
Sorry?
This brainy gentleman says he's right, then he must be. See? I wouldn't dream of going against Colonel Cobb or anyone who's got stuff in between the ears.
She hit it with her... She hit it with the corn. Success! If you can call it that. Thank you, Counsel. That will do. As a result of the summation examination, the jury's overall leaning has changed. 2 jurors now called guilty against 4 who call not guilty. Accordingly, the court has failed to reach a consensus at this time, and the trial must continue.
Yes! We did it!
Oh, well done, Mr. Naruhodo. Another wonderful victory.
Yay!
A waxwork of the despicable professor. Used as a body double for the victim in this quite extraordinary case? I must say it's extremely hard to believe the assertion could possibly be true. However, it would appear that it does at least warrant further investigation. It's the waxwork of the professor that links Mr. Drebber and Dr. Sith. And I'm convinced that there's a special significance to that link.
I don't know what you're hoping to prove, lad. I really don't.
That does throw several monkey wrenches into this trial, namely Dr. Sith. Yes, it does.
The truth, sir, by using evidence and testimony.
The court is to delve deeper into the alleged involvement of the waxwork in this case. And the prosecution calls for the owner of the model to be summoned as a witness. Oh, I thought we were just gonna call Dr. Sith, but okay. The owner? Madame Dispels. I really thought that Lord Van Zeeks would object to this whole line of inquiry. Very well, I concur. Make arrangements for Madame Dispels to appear as a witness with immediate effect.
We're going in.
Listen carefully, my learned friend. Oh, yes? You should know that you're on the brink of opening Pandora's box. I'm ready. Let's open it. The court should now adjourn for 45 minutes. During that time, the prosecution will summon the new witness and prepare her for taking the stand. Can't we just talk to her and Dr. Sith at the same time and just, like, get all this out of the way? Madame Dispels, yes. I shall see to it at once, my lord. To be continued! Oh man, I really thought we were gonna finish this today. If I go another round, it's gonna be another 2.5 hours. I didn't think that was gonna be another round. Alright, let's see. It's probably going to be another 2.5 hours if we want to try to finish this today, which means we would end at like 9 o'clock. That's a little late. I have some stuff I need to do today. Okay. Y'all okay if we finish this next week? Y'all okay with that? I did want to finish it today, but like if it's going to take a while. Okay, all good? All right, cool. All right, so we will stop here for the day. Take care of some things for the weekend. Okay. Hey, thanks all for watching. I hope you guys had fun. I'm having fun. It took me a while to get that last bit because I like totally forgot that where we found that piece of glass. And I was like, holy shit. So that was fun. That was really fun to mind blow myself. Okay. But yeah, we will pick it up next week and then we'll finish it for real. We'll finish this case for real next week. I will make sure that we have enough time for it. We will make the time and we will get it done. For realsies! Okay. Yeah, thanks all for watching. Hope you guys had fun. Thanks to all the lurkers, chatters, VoD watchers, 21 Snakes, Stat Black Bear. Thank you for the raid again. Darja Linkling for stopping by and harassing me with cats all the time. Yeah, we will pick this up next week. Let's go raid Neonako because I see he's streaming and he's been asking for more viewers for his whatever streamer goals. So let's go say hi to my friend. You don't have to stick around. Just if you just pop by, say hello, and then bounce. That's totally cool. But yeah. So thank you again, everybody. Have a wonderful rest of your weekend. Have a great rest of your night. We will pick this up next week and we'll finish this case. Next scheduled stream is we should be doing a raid tomorrow, but I know one person has the flu and he was really in bad shape yesterday, so I'm hoping he's getting better over the weekend. We'll see what happens. If there's no raid, we'll do something else. But for now, have a great night again. Have a great rest of your week, everybody. Thank you again so much for coming by. I really appreciate it. It's nice to spend time with you all doing these shenanigans. Ace Attorney is such a fun series. We're almost done with it. I say that, but it's going to be another few months. Anyway, have a good night, everybody, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye!